right, hello everybody, and welcome back to the lab. This is episode number 32. Sitting with us here today from Stanford, we have Mike Chatman. How you doing, man?
Good, good. I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
So far, so good. So far, so good. So, Mike, we start off each interview here with the same question.
Mm-hmm.
What made you want to become a strength coach?
Well, good enough to be a player. Yeah, I mean, if that comes down to what it really is, yeah, I mean, um, but true, honestly, I love the human body. I love what it can do. I love how it adapts. I love working with the kids and the interactions, like putting together human jigsaw puzzles when you work with a team. So you're not just a weight room guy. You're like building a team, a culture, working this jigsaw puzzle, trying to get everybody kind of move cohesively throughout the year. And I really, really enjoy being a part of that and being involved in everything that happens with the team.
Awesome, man. So tell us a little bit about where you all came from. So, like, you're at Stanford now, but where have you all been?
Uh, well, I started off with Gail Hatch for about 3 years. I just kind of went with him. And just we taught CrossFit clinics. I worked in his gym from 4 to 8 every evening, teaching Olympic lifts from kids from the age of 9 to people up to 60 years old. I
Wow.
did that every day. Um, and so that was my first taste of it. I left there and I went to Southeastern. So I would intern in the mornings at Southeastern from like 6 a.m. to 3. And I'd drive 45 minutes to Baton Rouge and I'd do Coach Hatch from 4 to 8. I did that for 2.5 years. I left there. I went to Southern University where I got to work with a ton of sports and run basketball early on. I also got to run basketball when I was at Southeastern when I was in school. So I was actually coaching people I was in class with, which is like a interesting dynamic, but it was like a great experience. It really teaches you how to like coach without being like, these are the rules, boom. I couldn't do that because we had class together. Um, yeah, I left Southern and went to Purdue. I was at Purdue for a long span of 14 days. Left left Purdue went to Penn State. Um, Left Penn State went to Texas. Texas to Michigan. Michigan to Southern Miss. Southern Miss to Towson. And from Towson I came here. So been around a little bit, but not
Journeyman.
much to say. Yeah. Absolutely. Just making my rounds. You learn something new every time you go somewhere, and it's really cool. But what's really cool about coaching is every time you hit a new stop, you kind of recreate yourself. So as a coach, my nuts and bolts have kind of stayed the same whole time, but I've gotten to like, maybe I was a little too soft when I was 21, 22. And like, now you learn how to beat those things. So every time I take a new job, people are like, yeah, I'm just going to keep being me. I'm like, no, I need to be somebody else. Like, I need to add more to my arsenal to keep getting better and better. That's the thing I love about, sticking and moving. And then hopefully you get to the point you can stay a place for 10, 15 years once you kind of get it figured out, which no one ever figures it out because it's impossible.
Makes
So,
sense, man.
Yeah.
Dang.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool, though.
Yeah.
I feel like most strength coaches we've met so far have been pretty flexible, pretty adaptable, like
Hmm.
just resilient individuals.
Yeah.
Um, Now you work with what sport in particular at Stanford?
A men's basketball and men's golf.
Okay, dang,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah. So, I mean, ton of different body types. I've worked 31 sports to date throughout my career, but
Wow.
basketball is what I love. I love golf too. The thing about golf is frustrating. It's like you think I'm working, I'm studying the swing, I work with these elite golfers. I suck. So you're like, damn, man, wish I could be good. But it's a great balance. The golf guys give me a different feel. I have some of the best golfers in the world on our team. Our basketball guys are literally brilliant, but we get developmental players. So like you really have to dial in and develop guys. This isn't a place where you're like, hey, come in, get bigger, faster, stronger, go to the NBA. This is like, hey, come in, all right, ground step one, step two, step three. And it's really, really cool because now I'm in year 4 here. So it's my first time in my career I've had senior class. And it's been super cool to watch like kids who couldn't stand on one foot doing a lunge, and now they can like he's like split squat like 340, and like he's making fun of first. And I'm like there was a point in time where you couldn't even like stand and touch your nose at the same time. So it's kind of cool like to go through those progressions with guys, you know. So that's been a really really cool thing for
That's sick. Holy crap.
me.
So when you're at Stanford working with the basketball players, since you've been there as long, how have you kind of evolved as the strength coach working with them as you've gotten to know them?
Man, we have one of the longest teams in the country. And so that's really challenged me to really challenge my thought process in the way of how do I get these guys better? How do I really get gains, right? Because like you can pop up before and after pictures all you want, but that don't mean they got better. It's got bigger. Bigger does not equal better, right? So when you look at how I've kind of done it, I've kind of broke it down to can you own positions? Can you move? And if you can own position and move and I get you good shape, that's my foundation right there. And so one of the biggest things that's really become something that kind of I've added since I've been here is isometrics. My assistant at Towson, Aaron Draghi, uh, um, kind of put me onto it. But the first 2 weeks here, our guys are doing isometrics. They're going to own a position before I can load it. And it's amazing. Like, oh, these long guys, they can't squat, they can't clean. BS. They can do everything. Like, there's nothing they can't do. Like, my 7-footer was doing snatch balance the other day. He's 7'1". Wasn't a ton of weight, but there's some benefit to have being balanced, coordinated, loaded overhead. That's how he plays the game, right? So, like, I'm not afraid to do anything with my guys. And I think the longer I've been here and the progressions I've seen, if you take the right progressions, there's nothing you can't do. I mean, I have like, we had a 7-footer who left last year. Like, he left a clean and jerk, the longest jerk you've ever seen. He was good at it. So like, so it's like,
Holy
like
shit.
how do I get these guys to do these things? And I have some kids who don't touch an Olympic lift, and I don't care. One thing for me is in strength conditioning, people get so caught up in the stuff that doesn't matter. And Harriet Emerson has a quote about principles and methods. I'm not getting caught up in the methods. I'm worried about the principles because you have good principles, they're going to get better. So we stick to our principles. We apply different principles, apply different methods, and we see what works. So for me, I want to have as many tools in the toolbox as I possibly can. So I'm going to do whatever I can to get those guys better. So like I have one guy who trains by himself because his body is just extremely unique and he can't hold certain positions. And so we're working through things and he's getting better at his own pace and he's improving his performance and all that stuff. The force plate shows he's getting better. So I think it's really been cool for me to have these different body types and have to like really adapt and adjust and make my program fit.
Dang. So the way that you kind of adapted and adjusted for that one individual, do you do that often or no?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So like your squat pattern is going to be based upon your anthros, right? I have some guys who don't squat all year one. We have a big here who he's been with me for 3 years. The first 3 years he never barbell squatted. All we did was wall sit, Hatfield, and goblet. And then he hit 320 for a double last week because he took the time to fix his pattern and taught him how to load because muscle, like joint position dictates muscle function, right? So if the joints can get in a good position, then he can load it better. If I can do all those things that go around it, he's going to be better. So there's quite a few guys I have to adjust for. These guys play basketball year round. They get beat up pretty good. And so they need some TLC, but that don't mean that we're not going to get into the weeds and get it. Like we still going to train hard. We're just going to make sure we're going to train hard with something that feeds your body the right thing. And we're not going to feed dysfunction.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Say that again.
We're not going to feed dysfunction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get that on a t-shirt?
Hey, only if I get like a little 2% clip on that bad boy. You know what I'm saying?
Heck yeah, man. No, I love that. That's a great saying.
Yeah.
So are there particular exercises or movements maybe you stay away with the golfers? I know I've had a few patients who like for some reason are anti weightlifting when it comes to golf because if they're too big or too bulky, they can't swing the club. And I'm like,
yeah,
it don't add up, man.
No, I think the biggest thing with golfers is, like, oh, they're not athletes. They're athletes. Like you go play 18 holes and you go home. If you're not sore, you're lying. So
Yeah.
like, like I've worked ice hockey, I've worked golf, and like before I got into training golf, I was like, hey, let me go play see what it feels like. Swinging that club takes a toll on your body. And so like the only thing I don't do with the guys is O lift, and it's because I don't want to teach them. like literally, like it has nothing to do with like just keeping a buck with you. Like, I don't want to teach them because like I get them twice a week for 45 minutes, right? So for me, when they come in, like Olympic lifting takes us some consistency to be good at it, right? Now,
Hmm.
I think they may play like we had a guy go to Dubai for a tournament. He was gone for 2.5 weeks. Do I really want to come back and start over? I don't, right? So we pull. So we do it. We clean pull, we snatch pull, we squat, we lunge, we hinge, we press, we do chain pulls, we push sleds. Like it's not uncommon to come in the gym and see golf pushing sleds across the floor. Like they're actually going to train. Like carrying a bag for that many holes is taxing, right? So
Yeah.
it was funny. I think 2 years ago they played in Hawaii, and a lot of the golf teams went hiking up a mountain, and and they're like, "Yeah, we were the only team that wasn't like throwing up the hill." I was like, "Yeah," because they were proud, like they were proud to be like fit and strong and in shape, right? And so
Yeah.
you kind of make it a badge of honor, like, hey, like you gotta come in, you gotta get strong. We put the VBT system on it. We throw the leaderboard up, compete. Let's see who can move the bar fast and get going. Like you're athletes, you're gonna train because ultimately strength builds durability. No matter what you want to say, if you can move and you're strong, you're gonna be a durable athlete, and that's the name of the game, no matter what the sport is.
Agreed.
Yep.
100%. 100%. So, Mike, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open the floor up to Brandon and Alex here so you can field a few questions from them. All right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, go for
Start rambling some off.
Besides
it.
isometrics, since you've been kind of around the block a few times, what would you say? What school or place or coach kind of impacted your philosophy you still use the most now?
Man, it's gonna keep me like that. Well, that's hard,
They'll get
like
easier. They'll get
Yeah.
easier.
man, I've worked for some great men and some great women. Um, and each person I've worked for has taught me something different. Gail Hatch taught me how to coach, the art of consistency, how to coach Olympic lifts. They're not hard to teach. You just have to know what you're doing. Um, Carlos Fingers taught me how to find my voice. Like there was no whispering on the floor. It was like use your big boy voice. Like let's go, get it.
We
And
just
ultimately,
had this convo with our interns. Yeah.
yeah. And one of the biggest things she did for me is she would let me run a football group every once in a while. And when it's you and 95 other dudes, there's got to be an alpha on the floor. And you got to be comfortable being the alpha, comfortable making mistakes, and be able to step out and say the sky is green with so much conviction that they look up the check. And so that's what that's what she taught me. Todd Wright taught me. He challenged my entire thought process on training. Coming from Gail Hatch, I was like, clean squat, jerk, press. This is what you do. That's what it takes. And he would ask me why. Never gave me answers. Asked me why. But he introduced but he introduced me to Gary Gray and loaded movement training and fascia and tensegrity and all those things. And so with that, and then John Sanderson taught me the art of just like simple quality training. And I can go on and on. I have friends that are mentors who've helped me out, but those people have each and put something different in me. And I am a sum of their experiences. I've kind of combined it and put it together. And, if I had to describe myself in any way, it's a movement meathead. I want to be able to move in 3 planes, but I want to load the shit out of you every chance I get. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think that works for me. Like that's what we do. Like people are like, oh, like the Vipers are so foo-foo. I'm like, yeah, they do. My guys also move a lot of weight, and the brain desires complex movements, right? And so we're gonna give it to them. Like we're gonna combine things across crawl patterns. We're gonna make it something that's fun and something that they want to do. But I can tell you right now, if you tell me I gotta come in and squat 5 by 10, I'm rolling my eyes at you. So to do something that's different and challenging that looks and smells like the game and feels like the game, just a smidge. I don't really believe in sport specific training because there's no such thing.
Mhm.
But it goes a
Yep.
long way. So Well, yeah, that's my answer. Sorry.
No, that was a
No,
good one.
that's awesome.
Good. And then
Yeah.
you were talking before how Stanford's on quarterly. So how has that kind of maybe changed your programming layout since you guys got your athletes a little bit longer?
Man, you get so much time with them. I will do 2 work capacity cycles almost every time. So if people like, I gotta get to my GPP work and then get to my strength, I'm like, I'm doing double GPP. Let's get that base as big as possible. Let's get this thing, let's get this tank and this aerobic system as big as possible. So when I get into the summer and I can start dialing in my true strength work and my power, their tank is so big, there's nothing that we really can't do. So people talk about load management and how they do it. My way of load management is pushing your ceiling as high as I possibly can, so nothing can wear you out. I don't do minimal effective dosage much. I just kind of keep building the tank, building the tank, and then just expanding capacity. So that's the one beauty of the quarter system. The hard part of the quarter system is how do you keep guys motivated because it's so long, right? So I do have a piece of autonomy, parts of autonomy into the program. I'm not a real autonomous coach. You're not picking what you want to do that day, but you pick your mobility drill. So like, hey, I put movement through. Hey, give me a movement in the sagittal plane that feels good. So your transverse plane, but have and they pick that. That's their autonomy in my program. Everything else is gotta go through me.
Yeah. Not letting them get a little bit of freedom.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because like we can say that, hey, I program kneeling ankle dorsiflexion. It's gonna work. Everybody's body gonna feel it. And I think some experienced coach said, I don't know who it was, it's like everything works until it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have progressions and regressions to your mobility work to get better, so you can have your program. So like that's kind of how I build it. How do I keep this thing kind of growing and going?
And
So
last one, kind of like based off what Lou was talking about with golfers, I feel like basketball players are kind of another sport that's kind of can be gun shy away from the weight room. The whole it's going to affect my shot type thing. So, do you have any of that kind of stuff when like true freshmen come rolling in?
yeah, for sure. Like it's funny because the guys are kind of like, oh, I'm not gonna do that test because I mess up my shot. And then you watch them 2 years later, like teasing the other guys that I want to do it. I've kind of made it like the Olympic lifting in our program is a badge of honor. You have to earn the right to do it. So like, they're like I want to do it. So like, no, you're not good enough to do that. You can't do it. You can't even hold a good position in the front spot. You can't clean. Right. So like they want to move to the next level, right? Everybody wants to progress. You guys are competitive. So like everybody's on the leaderboard and you're like, hey, you can't really go on the leaderboard because you're not doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right. But you're still getting better. But I think the thing is, how do you sell them on your process? Right. And so my thing is I'll take every movement we do and break it down to how it fits the game. So whether, I see basketball as a series of dynamic lunges and squats, right? Defensive positions, a squat, shooting the ball is a quarter squat, playing defense is usually a lateral lunge to a rotational lunge, getting all those different positions, right? So I'm like, look, you don't want to lunge and squat? That's great, but you can't play this game, right? And so then I break it down, and I show them what it looks like. And then usually once they get a feel for it and they start to get better, they really start to buy in. But I think the key to getting guys to buy in, and I think this is in any sports, I've worked with so many sports, is they have to see themselves getting better early, fast. So I pick exercises that they're going to get better at. Like if someone's afraid to see weight on the bar, have them do a glute bridge. Because you do glute bridges for 6 weeks, you can put 4 plates on that thing. When you start, so nice, you stick 4 plates on that thing, and then you go squat, you put 2 plates on, it doesn't look quite the same, right?
Yeah.
So there's other components to it too that I like to do with our players that really works out. But yeah, I try to meet them where they are and walk them through the process. When we meet, I do something called 2-minute meetings because I know how long their attention span is, and I try to get everything we can, and we do it. We do it throughout the year and weekly. And I'm like, hey, this is what we have. What do you got going on? Boom, boom, boom. What are your concerns? And we work through things that way.
Good one.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
I'll take you back like your playing days.
Mm-hmm.
What do you trying to figure out how to word it now? What would you have done different as an athlete back then that you like know now that would be like beneficial to you?
I never understood the importance of strength, why it's important, how to get strong, or even being in shape. It's like after being like you have to run. Like
Yeah.
you don't really understand why. Like no one really says why you do it when you're young. You just are told to do it.
Uh-huh.
But like understanding that being in great shape gives you the ability to play the game cerebrally without thinking because you're not gassed the whole time. Because we all know being fatigued lowers our ability to think and all those things. Or maybe like when you're trying to play and trying to do moves and trying to do whatever it is that you do, and you're not strong enough to hold your position, so you get bumped off of it. So not everything looks bad because you just aren't strong enough, you know. And that's just like something like I wish someone would have taught us as younger people that it's not just always do. You know, like I think there's like this fine line with like with people with coaching. It's like, yeah, I don't want to. They're like either just do it because I said do it, or I don't want to like make them do anything.
Yeah.
No. Like if they knew what they needed, they wouldn't be here. So it's
Yeah.
that fine line. Like that's coaching. Like I need you to do this, and this is why. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. That creates buy-in, right? So that's something that I think that I probably would have wished I knew back in the day.
Yeah. I agree. And then another thing is what is one of the principles that you learned like when you first started in the strength game as far as like strength and conditioning that you have just like kind of scrapped, like thrown to the side, be like, that one didn't work out as well as I thought it was going to be. And then like, what's one of those things that you like really held on to that's been like a core of yours?
Yeah. It has to be hard to get better.
Mm-hmm.
I've scrapped that completely. Yeah, like, cause like, just because kids are bent over and looking gassed, like, that don't mean they're getting better. Like, I
Just
need
means
to
they're
figure
tired.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just means they're tired. And if
Yeah.
they're tired, that probably means I didn't adequately program to allow rest periods and whatnot. So, like, that's my bad. Like, anybody can make someone tired. Um, uh, but I think a coach told me one time is like anybody can hit the gas. He said, "Great coaches don't hit the brakes,"
Mm-hmm.
and that has stuck with me. And I'll that will stick with me forever. One thing that's going to stick with me forever is movement. And I learned movement twice. So I learned movement from Gail Hatch as in front squat, back squat, position like pull, lunge, split squat. Then I learned movement from Todd, where it was 3D movement, right? The one thing that is universal to every sport is you must be able to move. You must be able to move in 3 planes, right?
Mhm.
And so that movement principle will stick with me, and I will forever load movements. And so that's kind of the thing that if you told me I can do one thing, it's going to be some type of loaded movement. Now, when I say loaded movement, that doesn't mean I'm swinging like a 2 pound kettlebell. That could mean I'm doing a reverse lunge with 185 because that's a lunge is a movement and I'm loading it. People like to play with the semantics of words, try to get you. No, we're gonna, that's what it is to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last one, sort of off topic, I guess. Are you like friends with or close with the wrestling coach out in Stanford? The strength and
Nah,
conditioning?
no, is it Tran? I think it's Tran do it.
I think so. I'm not too
Yeah,
positive. We have a kid that's just signed out there for wrestling.
yeah. Nah, so I'm kind of like in the silo, like I'm in like the basketball hole. But
Yeah.
like he's a good dude. The guys seem to like him. The coaches are good people, but yeah, I don't get to see them all too often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna be in good hands, and it's a great school for sure.
Yeah. Oh, he's gonna
Yeah.
have his hands full with Carter. That's a
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
all I got.
oh for sure. Yeah. Hopefully I answered the questions decently.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, but trying to think. I had one more question. I just lost it. Lord help me. Oh, so as you kind of gone from I guess as you've kind of grown as a strength coach, what would you recommend for someone who's just new into the field, like just developing as a coach? What would be like if you had to give like 3 just pearls of just advice that you would recommend for any developing strength coach who's new into the field?
First thing is coach what you know. Don't try to learn everything in the world. Pick a couple of things and then hone it up. Don't have to master the world on day one. The second thing would be don't be a weight room person. And that means you think you're going to make an impact on your team, on your program, by being in the weight room. Like, you need to be able to make an impact outside of that to be able to have longevity in your career. If you're just a weight room guy, you're not going to do well. But really, what it comes back to is it becomes a cyclical relationship to where now the kids know you're with them outside of the weight room. So when you're in the weight room, they're going to work harder for you, and even better, so they're going to work harder with you. And so I think that is a big piece. Like, how do we work with each other? How do I develop that relationship? Because the relationship is really important. You can have a kid that hates the weight room, but they can love you and work because they love you. And that is the ultimate goal of an ultimate testing of good coaching, in my opinion. And thirdly, I would say, don't complicate anything. Keep it savagely simple.
Savagely simple.
Work hard as hell, but keep it super simple. Make the program so simple they have to think. They just have to come in and train. Because no matter what you do with good intent, you're going to get better for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, 5 seconds hope for success.
I like that. Those are good.
Sure. Yeah, solid.
That was pretty good, man. Dang, put you on the spot. Yeah. There it was.
I had to make up for the earlier questions where I sucked, so you know.
Oh, man. No, well, we hope you guys enjoyed today's conversation we had with Mike Chatman, from the University of Stanford. We will see you guys in the next episode.